Okay, so tonight I'm going to start work on changing out this Vance & Hines cold air intake to the Screamin Eagle Heavy Breather Elite air breather. This will be my first time doing this to a Harley-Davidson, but it's supposed to work really good with the Screamin Eagle 122 Stage 3 kit that I have installed on my 2020 Fat Bob, which I'll do a review about later on. Okay, so first off, let's open the box up. So, see what we got with. Oh wow, look at that. Okay. So, this is what the contents of the box will look like. Looks like there's the air intake that mounts to the motor, the housing. You got your filter right here. Assembly hardware. There's the cap that goes over the hold the air filter on. This looks like the plate that actually mounts to the cylinders. There's some gaskets. Okay. And more into it. Here we go. Okay. Sorry, don't have the right angles for everything. I'm first time doing this. Okay. Cool. So now that we got it all apart, let's get all this out. There we go. Clean off the bench. Okay, so here's an expandable view of the instructions, the service manual for the Softail, and all the parts that come in that box. So that's what you'll end up with when you open it. And now the time has come to take that part off. Okay, so pretty much the first thing we want to do is we want to take off this air filter on the outside, which will be different for every bike. To do that with this Vance & Hines, take some 4mm Torx. All right. And then this cage comes off. There's the air filter, and then there is the setup for the faceplate for this air filter itself. Now I'm going to have to do the Torx here again, it looks like. Let that. So you can use a metric 27 wrench in place of there we go. Now it's all come loose. Carefully pull that out. And as well, it looks like I'm going to have to pull that line off and that line off. And there's your part. Okay, now I've gotten this down to bare minimum. Looks like there's some gunk in there too. That should not be there. So I'm going to clean that up and have a look in the manual. Okay, so what you're going to do, the instructions are kind of vague. So what you're going to do is first, you can use some rubbing alcohol if you want. I'm just going to do Windex because that'll do the same. And I'm going to clean off around here, rubbing it lightly. I'm going to clean off the contact area for the air intake to manifold piece right here. And I'm no expert mechanic, but I've worked on dirt bikes, and my terminology might be off. Oh well, you know what I'm talking about if you're a mechanic at all. So in the instructions it shows this plate going on here, and it says put the adhesive on the backing plate. Anyway, so what you're going to do is on the inside of this, you see there's another ring, and it matches up to that bolt pattern right here, 1, 2, and 3, and it's going to sit like that and push up against it. So you're going to use that same rag, spray again, Windex, wipe it around here, and then this gasket is going to be adhered to this piece right here, just like that. All right? This part is pretty easy. You just got to line up the holes to where they look right, and then just gently run your finger around that ring, push on it, and that will give you your good enough seal. Okay, next piece we're going to work on is this plate. This is going to be the bottom. It's going to cover up this sensor right here, the wiring harness, and protect it. And you see how it leaves those bolts open here where we just put that gasket on the back of this piece. So what you're going to do is put those pieces together just like that. Alright, there we go. It should fall into place really nicely. That's what it'll look like. And then ever so slightly, actually, you're right, I gotta remove those two bolts. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so I gotta remove these two bolts off of this piece right here. Actually, I can do this with a socket. Why am I doing it with this? Because that's after work for me and I'm tired. My brain ain't all there, but it's still good. I can still get it done. One way or the other. Get too big. It's gonna be, it's like an 11. Oh yeah, beautiful. So we're looking at an 11 millimeter. Alright. Take those two bolts on the outer side of that bracket that's just above the intake. And so one thing it says to do is you want to use blue Loctite. They have a specific number, but I think any blue Loctite will do because you don't want something too permanent. So keep it easy that way. Oh yeah. Looks like they actually use some other kind of thread locker on this. Gummy, that's not good. Get that out of there. Okay. Oop. And look at that. To the ground it goes. Okay. So.
Okay, that bracket that you see in this picture right here. On the instructions, it looks like that bracket stays on the bike, but in order for it to get the right, I guess, suction, volume, pressure around the intake, that bracket has to come off. And in the video, I didn't understand it at the first time until I had to call Vance and Hines and they explained it to me.
I'll take that rag again that I have with the Windex and just wipe this out. No need in having extra gunk where it doesn't need to be. Make sure you wipe it away from the intake. in the breather there. Okay. Next, put this bracket, which is fit over with that gasket we just put on. Slide that over. The top there. And there we go. So, then I gotta get those screws out of the bolt kit. Okay, so I'm gonna do an overview of what I've done so far. You'll find, not the large ones, but the small. They have a thread on them like this right here. You're gonna thread those through, and for the backing plate, what they're talking about is this piece right here. You turn it over. This adhesive gasket right here, you will put this onto this before you bolt it all together. Make sure you also clean these little inlets right here, and these right here, these little things with a white paper back on them, those fit right into that spot, and that helps seal off for the breather bolts. Alright, so like that. Get it in there, push it in there nice and good. There's two of them, one for each side. Alright. Okay. Now, what we'll do, there we go. Alright, so let's take one last look at the instructions here before we go putting it on. So it says there's 3 little screws that actually, you can see them right here. Goes right there, and right there. And when you look at it, when it matches up with this, which you gotta slide this on there, be very careful about that. Make sure it goes on there fairly easy. It's gonna be kind of a tight fit. There we go. You're gonna actually bolt these two together because you don't see them from the front. So they're small bolts. I'm gonna go grab them right now and show you what they are. Okay, so here's the bolts. They look like that, about that long. Okay, and you're gonna use a T20 Torx to tighten these down. Now, what it says to do first off is put red Loctite on them. Not red, I mean blue. I am colorblind sometimes, forgive me. Okay. So, I'm going to put the dab onto that. And then I'm going to thread this one in to that backing plate. And then for now, until I get the other 2 in there, just going to hand tighten it with this. So now we are going to install this piece onto, what do they call it? Throttle body. The throttle body, that's what we call it. Okay, so I'm going to put some Loctite on it again just to be safe. There we go. There. Right there. Okay, so now we got that all together. It slides over. Now that we got that, it says you want to tighten it between what? 6.2 and 6.8 Newton meters. Now, luckily for me, on my torque wrench, there's actually a line right there that says 6.8, so I'm just going to go up to that line where it says Newton meter and tighten her up. Yeah. I know. All the way up. Pretty close to me now, right? And then all the way up. Here we go. There we go. First click. Second click. And then. There we go. So go around twice more. Because that's tight. You guys will press these on the race. And this. So it's good. Make sure you go around a couple times. There you go. Okay. That's that. Alright. That part is now installed. Alright, so these are going to be the breather screws, and you can tell because there's a hole pre-drilled in them there, and they are open-ended on the other side. They're going to go on next. They're going to go right in here, as you can see I already put the O-ring in. Here's the 2 O-rings you will have. What you're going to do is kind of put it in there one end and just kind of roll it around, and it will fall into place there. Then put them in hand tight. Should go all the way, almost all the way down before it gets tighter. And then it says you want to tighten these between 22 and 24 foot-pounds. So we'll go back to the torque wrench. T40 for the torques. And it just got stuck there. I'm going to tighten the other side down. Okay, now there we go. Check it one last time. Yeah, that's it. Okay, those are in place. Okay, so now that we've got that all bolted on, tightened up to the right torque specifications and the bleeder screws in, breather screws, we are going to do the intake elbow. So you're going to have this, again, I've already cleaned this off. I would use some Windex, rubbing alcohol to kind of clean it off, dry it off, let it dry all the way. Here's the gasket, and the gasket is pre-cut. You see how there's this notch in it? That notch lines right up there with that. So this is how you're going to attach it to the motor, so to the intake piece, the elbow. You're going to fold that back. This will help you peel it off. And there's the gasket. Gasket's going to come. Make sure you line up with all the holes. Like that. There we go. This is going to be one of the stiffer gaskets, so that's, you're going to feel it when you push it down on there that it is a lot more stiff. Okay, so now that we got that on there, that's in place, it's installed correctly, we inspect it, look around, it looks like it's all in the right place, you're going to get a good seal. You're going to have 3 bolts that are black with a Loctite. You're going to install those one at a time. On here, bolt this up. Okay. No, that's on there. 7.5 to 8.1 newton meters. So back to some clocks, please. 6.8. 7.2. Okay, here we go. And here is your finished product. Sorry my camera died on me there at the end, but there it goes. And now all we have to do is take it out for a test ride